Since starting the Fresh Out series, we've been getting tons of emails about prison life. So we decided to start this series to answer all those questions you have. Prison life can be a scary thing if you know what you're walking into. You can end up in a deadly situation or get fucked up. I'm Big Herc, and I served nearly a decade in federal prison. And I've seen and lived through some shitty times. And this is Prison Talk. We got an email from a viewer who was asking about relationships in prison. Well, dealing with a girlfriend, a fiance, a wife, a lot of times being locked up is hard, man. It's very stressful. You only have a limited amount of phone calls. Usually your phone calls are limited to 15 minutes, 300 minutes a month. You have to wait usually a half hour, an hour between phone calls. You have very limited communication outside of writing letters. And it's rough, man. I mean, women need affection. Women need attention, and they need sex. And a lot of times, if they can't get it from you, they might fuck with Poppy, man. They might fuck around and have to take care of that need. Not to say all women are fucking around on their man while they're in prison. There's some riders out there. Don't get me wrong. There's ones out there that handle their business, that come to visiting every week or every month or whatever the case may be, and they'll ride it out for a decade. I've seen some, but a lot of times, they're out there doing their thing. They'll do little things for you here and there, and as you get closer to your date, now they start really getting on top of their game, because they like, oh man, you coming home, you about to start contributing and putting money in their pocket and giving them that prison dick, which is some powerful shit. They trying to look out for you at that point. But it's really fucked up. I mean, you go to visiting, and in the state you have conjugal, but in the federal you can't really even touch your female. I mean, you got people, the guards that are working the visiting, they're like on you, and if you got a hot wife, they're sweating her about how she's dressed. Sometimes your wife will come all the way out there in the middle of nowhere, and a motherfucker say that she's not dressed appropriately. And if she's not dressed appropriately, she can't come into visiting. So then you're mad, then she's pissed, and if he does that 2 or 3 times, she's like, man, I'm not coming out there and 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour drive or flying, and this motherfucker's gonna be playing these kind of games. So you got dickheads like that who can't get pussy on their own, so they're fucking with inmates, fiancés, girlfriends, wives, trying to get at them, and holler at them in the visiting and make your life miserable because they can't spit game on their own. So it's a lot of bullshit going on. And it ain't like these institutions are trying to cultivate relationships, because if they were, they would let you. If they were, they would let you. If these institutions were trying to cultivate family bonding, family relationships, they would allow you to have more minutes a month. They would allow you to have, conjugal visits with your wife in the federal institution. They would allow you to look at fuck books, instead of promoting homosexuality. I mean, what motherfucker doesn't want to look at a fuck book in prison? I mean, come on. So, all this ties into, your relationship on the street. It's frustrating. You can't touch them. You just can fantasize and try to go back to think about how it was before. But relationships in prison, it's a very rough situation. And, it really pushes the limits of any marriage, any relationship. And, the high divorce rate, it's all fine and gravy when you're out there and you're spending money and you're kicking it. But, when the money dries up, she's got to go find her another baller. And it's just a sad reality. But, you're out there getting it, and she was getting it too, because she was getting the benefits of what you were doing. But when you hit that wall, man, a lot of times they just fall off, man. It's sad.